Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Did Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, have the right to determine or to decide alone the tariff or to deal with Trump one-on-one? Well, that's what we're going to discuss in this video. Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America, at least is elected by the popular vote. And then obviously you have the other guys to cast their vote. But nevertheless, they are over there as a buffer zone, and that's the Electoral College. In case the popular vote goes the wrong way, then the Electoral College can always change it. Remember that one. They don't have to confirm the popular vote. But nevertheless, on paper, they possibly can say no. In the European Union, the people did not vote directly for Ursula von der Leyen or for the President of the European Commission. She is the President, supposedly, of the European Union, but she was never directly voted by the so-called European people. She is nominated, I will show you the whole process, nominated and confirmed by, you'll see whom. Alright, so Ursula von der Leyen shows up in Scotland. Scotland is not really a country, is it? As far as I'm concerned, I think it's not, is it? Sometimes it is, sometimes not. British, UK, but anyway. So Donald Trump shows up in Scotland for some golf, pong, pong, and she, Ursula, comes over there to meet the guy in vacation, and he tells her, you are going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And she says, yes, I will. First, does she have the authority? Would you give her the authority? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's democratic? That's the first one. And the second one, when you make a deal with someone because you are afraid, what do you think were conditions of making the deal, their circumstances? So we have an article here, and I'm going to show you not only the process of election of Miss von der Leyen, but also right here, Russia Today, 3rd of August 2025. European Union surrendered to Trump's demands out of fear, according to Sunday Times. So it's not the Russians saying that, it's the Sunday Times. So the European Union surrendered to Trump's demands out of fear. So I thought that we are actually, in a partnership. We are friends. We are allies. So if you threaten me with a blackmail, then you're not my friend, are you? Yeah, I understand it's a trade. Reciprocity. But what is exactly Europe? How should I do it for the United States of America? I understand the United States of America provides them with security. What are the Europeans providing the Americans with? I tell you with what? A springboard to go in Russia. Here, the European Commission President was allegedly worried that the US could stop military aid to Ukraine, a non-European Union country, by the way, or even pull out troops from Europe. And that is what? The Russians are waiting at the door. This is the narrative. That's a lie. That's a boogeyman. The narrative goes like this. The Russians are waiting to grab Europe and enslave Europe if the Americans leave. Now, if you fall for that, give me $10,000 today, I will give it to you back tomorrow with 3,000% interest. I will bring the interest too tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to meet at noon, wherever you say. And definitely I will show up. Okay? Please do that. So they're afraid that the Russians are waiting to get in. I'm not saying it's impossible. But I think the United States of America are already in. And are not in to be friends. So let's read further. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen agreed to a lopsided US trade deal without resistance out of fear that Washington might reduce military support for Ukraine. Allies don't do that, do they? Allies and friends don't do that, man. They don't leave friends in need, huh? Or even withdraw American forces from Europe. The Sunday Times reported this weekend. Do not fall for that. She was not afraid. She showed up in Scotland to meet a guy in vacation who told her how things will be done. Now, how do you like that? Do you think that was an equal footing or it was way down? If you know what I mean. And remember, she right here represented you, the Europeans. She represented you. She. All right? The paper described von der Leyen's recent visit to President Donald Trump's golf course. This is how the French humiliated the Germans in the First World War when they had them sign that armistice in the little train carriage. Do you remember that one? If you don't, then you probably definitely remember the Germans did return the favor. Do you remember that? Probably because Hitler was an asshole. He humiliated the French. He pulled out the carriage, brought it to Fuchs Memorial on the same spot. He brought the carriage, put it over there. He showed up, looked at Fuchs's monument, smiled a little bit, and left. Went to the carriage, went inside, saluted the guys inside, and got out. He didn't talk to the guys and fuck off. How Hitler humiliated the French. No, the French did it first. If you don't know that, now you know it. I'll write a little bit here like that. Now, if you don't know that, now you know. So the same here. She shows up at Mr. Fuchs' monument over here to do what? She showed up at his golf course. For God's sake, it's his golf course. It's a private golf course in Scotland. Who is in Great Britain, United Kingdom. And she accepted right there in front of him 15% tariff on most European Union exports as a quote-unquote surrender. According to the report, officials inside the Commission initially prepared a strong countermeasure package in response to Trump's proposed 20% tariffs announced on April. But when Trump threatened to raise the tariffs to 30%, von der Leyen pulled back. But hey, she's a strong woman, isn't she? Behind the reversal was the fear, and I'm quoting, that Trump might use a dispute as a pretext to cut U.S. military support for Ukraine or otherwise damage European security. Oh my God. Therefore, these guys are going to do everything they do, which is the Russians. Brussels was reportedly particularly concerned about the outcome of a pending American posture review that may result in withdrawal of some of roughly 80,000 U.S. troops stationed across Europe. Let me give you this. France is part of the European Union. France. Great Britain is not. France has nuclear weapons. The Russians will never attack the European Union, as the Americans will never attack North Korea. Why do you think the United States of America did not wipe North Korea up yet? Because they have a few nuclear weapons. That's all. And those nuclear weapons that North Korea has, I don't even think they can reach the western coast of the United States of America. You got that? So I don't think the Russians are eager beavers to get inside the European Union when these guys have the potential to, cause some damage. All right, so that's what it was, my friends. A surrender. So let's see who this Ursula von der Leyen is. Before, let's go to the president of the European Commission. That's even better. President of the European Commission, and you have the baboon, right? Not baboon because he's in charge of the Europeans, my friends. The president of the European Commission, also known as the president of the College of Commissioners, is the head of the European Commission. You see, they don't see the executive branch of the European Union. The president of the Commission leads a cabinet of commissioners, referred to as the college. Are they elected by you? Let's see what these guys are. The European Commission is the primarily executive branch of the European Union. It operates as a cabinet government with a number of members of the Commission corresponding to 2/3 of the members of the number of member states, unless the European we don't care. The problem is these guys are the executive order, Jesus Christ, the executive branch, and what they do, the president is empowered to allocate portfolios among reshuffles or dismissal commissions as necessary. The college directs commission civil service, sets the policy agenda, and determines the legislative proposal it proposes. The commission is the only body that can propose or draft bills to become EU laws. So only those guys can do it. The commission president also represents the EU board. So here it is. So he is right there. The post was established in 1958. Each new president is nominated, she is nominated by the European Council and elected by the European Parliament for a 5-year term. So this European Council is a collegiate body of a symbolic collective head of states that define the overall political direction and general priorities of the European Union. So these guys nominate someone. But where is she coming from? Where is she coming from? The president of the commission also delivers the annual State of the Union, So she was nominated by European Council to succeed Jean-Claude Juncker. And she was elected, they say, the 13th president of the European Commission by the European Parliament. You got it? So that's the way it is. You got a body of people who are nominating her, and that is like in America, it's the confirmation. You want, let's say, Secretary of Defense to be Tom Jones, and Tom Jones is nominated by whomever the president who wants him to have in his cabinet. He shows up in front of the Senate, whatever they have over there, the commission to nominate him. He's asked some questions and they vote. Party line, and he gets nominated. He gets confirmed. That's what happened. Now, she did not, each secretary over there, if you say, okay, was the Secretary of State? Is he an elected official? No, he's a bureaucrat. So in the United States of America, a person who's nominated and then, as I said, confirmed by those guys, that person is not elected official. He's just a bureaucrat, you understand? So this bureaucrat, in this case, von der Leyen, showed up at this guy's golf course and played a little bit of doggy style with this. And then she agreed in the name of all these guys. She said she had the power to agree to that. Remember, they came with 20%. But she, one person, unelected, decided it's okay. Why? Because of the boogeyman. Russia is ready to get us. Because Ukraine, that is not part of the European Union, it's attacked by the Russians. Therefore, we accept to be America's whores. Not whores, not that kind of whore. The other kind of whore. Alright, my friends, that's it. Just so you know who's who and what's what. And as a little extra that I think will help you understand even better what's going on, why the Ukraine aid, which is money, military support, is this. Miss von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission, right? She was the former defense minister of Deutschland, Germany. Makes sense a little bit? So she was over there, like you have the Secretary of Defense in the United States of America, Mr. Let's say, what his name was, Lloyd Austin. Lloyd Johnson, that's another guy. Lloyd Austin, and he was like this. He was a general in the military. He did his hanky-panky. He retired. He was picked by Raytheon, one of the biggest military contractors, arms manufacturing company, placed in the board of directors in their company with nothing. He is a retired general. Pack right there, big money and everything else. And then somehow he was nominated and confirmed as the defense minister, Secretary of Defense of the United States of America. And when he got over there, Ukraine war, goddammit. And then he helped his buddies. He didn't do that because he's not a corrupt guy. Everything I said you makes perfect sense, in a democracy and meritocracy, correct? You got? So the same thing is with Mrs. von der Leyen. Comes from the same thing, picked, placed over there. The guy says, yeah, we nominate her. Who brought her in front of those guys to nominate her? Do you think they sit down and say, who should we nominate? Von der Leyen, but who's a freaking defense minister of a country? We're going to nominate her. Why? What characteristics do you think she has? What qualities? That's already old and done. Forget about that one. The connection she had, the way she sucked some interest thing, that's what he is. She was over there, she said, oh, this is our spineless mollusk. That's what she is. And they nominated, the other guys voted for her. Imagine Romania saying, or Bulgaria, or Poland, well, we don't like von der Leyen. Smack the next day. Well, we're going to snap some, yeah. Why? You know, Germany, France, that's what the European Union is. Not anybody else over there is supposed to be just a number to the main two. So here it is, my friends. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.